Blessings, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of What the Movie Are Y'all Watching? Because we tackle these topics that are just like the things that people don't want to talk about. Seems like they're too uncomfortable to talk about these things. And it's tough because YouTube, like my guest was telling me just a second ago, how they shadow ban you when you talk about real stuff and you talk about things that go against the system. They don't want your content out there. So like, subscribe, share. We need you, the people, to share this content. We also need you to go on Instagram and support the merch. I mean, I might have sold like 10 shirts so far. 10? I could do that with my friends on the block. Where y'all at, people? We're going to get it popping on. This is only episode 5. All right, what the movie are y'all watching? You know, I guess we could call it Wing the Information today, because me and my man, who's my guest, my man Dusty Vision, is in the building. And we're going to wing this show today. We got a lot of topics to talk about, and we're just going to kind of dive into it. So first, welcome, Dust. What's up, brother?
Man. What up, Bambino?
Dusty Vision's in the building.
It's going to be Wing the show.
Wing the show. Wing the episode 5. So, yo, bro, let me throw on my lokes.
Get it.
Because a brother need to see.
Get it. Looking fly, by the way. I like that shirt.
Make
sure you guys buy one of those shirts, man.
Make you
dope. Much better in person.
One, bro. Thank you, man. Yeah, we're trying to get it cracking and get the podcast out there so people can start talking about this. So whether they, shadow ban this shit or not, man, we got to just get people to share it.
Let's jump into it, dog.
Let's jump into it.
Scared.
So first off, tell me about your show and really quick and how you got into the business of interviewing. And
man, Dusty Vision TV is my channel. I've been podcasting since 2008 in various forms, man. I came from a radio background, just loving radio. And when my favorite radio station got canceled, a talk station that had Howard Stern, had Tom Likas and, others on it, I heard Adam Carolla say, I'm going to try this podcasting thing. And I was like, podcasting? What's that? I kind of heard about it. So long story short, man, I followed his podcast, and within 2 weeks I started mine, and I've been doing it ever since. And I guess if we could say, what is Dusty Vision's show about? My show is about, I guess if I could put one word, making us take accountability, making black folks take accountability. And it's also to keep kids from going down the road that a lot of our people go down, which is prison, which is drugs, which is all the BS. You know what I'm saying? My show is about hopefully preventing them. I do a lot of hip hop related content as well, old school hip hop, which I love. And every Sunday I do a show with my friend who's serving life in prison right now for a murder he committed when he was 17. Wow. And he's 17 years in now. And the show is called This Ain't It. So what we talk about on Sundays is the gritty and grimy of prison. You know what I mean? The shit smell. You're going to like the farting of dude, like the food, the roaches in the food and all that to hopefully prevent kids from going down that route. So, in a nutshell, that's really what I'm about, man. I talk about a lot of the issues that we're going to discuss today. And, I just think the world is crazy.
Hold up. That's why I brought you here. I know your show tackles that. Shout out to Lonzo. Thanks for you guys having me and talking about another level of my history in hip hop. But this prison thing, it goes hand in hand with hip hop, because hip hop, I want to talk about, what you sent me. Mm-hmm. We talked about just hip hop and the political landscape and how it affects hip hop, and then hip hop versus drill. So we could dive into that first, being that we're both hip hop based. Mm-hmm. But the prison thing, we're glorifying it in the music today. And we always have. But typically they're kids. Like your friend was 17 years old. He deserves a chance to come back to society.
He's working on it, and thankfully it's looking good. You know what I mean? But yes, that is still
my buddy CV. He just got pardoned by Trump 2 years ago.
Nice.
Or wait, no, I'm sorry. Damn, that was 4 years ago, because Trump. We're about to do a new election. CV was doing life for marijuana sales.
Crazy.
I mean, come on. Our laws are like so backwards. That's something on my list of things to talk about today. Prison, is the broken Constitution. The Constitution was written in 1790, whatever the fuck.
Constitution.
Shouldn't we amend that motherfucker by now? It's time to update.
I mean, we can update it, but it's like that's not going to stop the powers that be of not even paying attention to that.
Correct.
Shit, because I don't know, the future administration, I'm so disappointed in them, and I feel like they're not following the laws at all. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy that we're pawns, we're guinea pigs for all this stuff, and I'm interested to see where this country is going to be in 10 years.
It's funny because I'm independent. I remember at one point I was a Democrat, and I just thought, Democrat, Republican, they're both arms of the same beast. And they keep us fighting over this stuff all day long. And at the end of the day, what's really changing in our communities? Vote, vote, vote. But the electoral college is so, people don't even understand how that works. So our votes, do they really count? I'm always like, what the everything makes me say, what the That's why I had to create this podcast, bro.
Yeah. I think that, first of all, I'm independent as well.
Yeah.
In my local elections, I do vote a certain way. I think the presidential election is a complete joke. So this year, I'm just sitting this one out. I don't think either of these 82-year-old white men care about anything. And we have one in the office right now. And the country is witnessing a man at the early stages of Alzheimer's, and no one's saying anything. We're just walking around like everything's cool. Meanwhile, this guy's bumping into people, falling down. Like, what is going on? And
thank you.
I was Democrat.
Just want to say thank you.
I was Democrat
because sometimes, and we didn't talk about this. Is not scripted. This is just somebody whose energy I knew was going to be good on the show because we talk about a lot of the same things. What the are we? Joe Biden is damn near senile, Alzheimer's, and we're talking about him running the country. Trump, on the other hand, has all of these cases and is not the best candidate, but in my opinion, he's just a little bit better of the worst.
I'm right there with you, man.
But Biden is just senile, bro. He needs to be in the old folks. So it's scary, bro.
It's actually scary. And that leads me to a thing. You know, I was Democrat up until maybe about age 32, 33, 34. And then I started, just doing my research. All along I was doing my research. And, I'm just walking around Democrat-run cities. And then I'll go to, like, Irvine, which is not a Democrat-run city. I'm like, damn, what's the difference? I'm trying to figure it out. So a lot of my views, people think are Republican. I'm not, Republican. But if I will say anything to my people, Black people, Latinos, we need to stop relying on the Democrat Party because I personally don't think they're the best. They have the best intentions for Black people. I think, me personally, that they're running a low-key plantation, dog.
They are.
And I just believe that we got to stop giving them our votes so easily.
But you ain't Black if you don't vote for me,
dog. When I saw that, I said,
says the guy who created the crime bill.
I said, there's no way, right? When I saw that on Charlemagne the God, I said, there's no way Black people are going to vote for this guy after that.
Hold on, he just sat down with a brother and had fried chicken with him. He just sat down with the family eating fried chicken. Like,
tell me about basketball. And your daddy loves you.
I get to see on Black.
It gave me chills right now
because of that.
They've always, and then you got Hillary with I carry hot sauce in my
purse.
No, you
Are we falling for the banana in the tailpipe?
And then she says, then Charlemagne at that time goes, "Are you pandering to Black people?" She said, "Is it working?"
Come on, bro. And we just sit around. We sit around and watch it. And that's why I created the show. What the so we're dancing around here, and that's okay because this show sometimes it's a lot of moving parts in this show. The jail thing and the hip hop thing I want to talk about. We know that the political space is just out of this world right now. They dance back and forth on topics, but let's talk about hip hop today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the state of hip hop. How do you feel about the young new wave?
Yeah,
guns and dresses and purses and it's like confusion to me.
It's interesting. I've always been one to believe that if you dig enough, you're going to find the good stuff. You know, so there are some good MCs out there. There's some really good up and coming MCs. Shout out to Coda the Friend, one of the dopest out there doing it. He just popped up in my head. But there's a lot of MCs if you dig. But the stuff that's
LaRussell from the Bay, I like LaRussell from the Bay. He's dope.
Man, there's so many good ones out there, homie. But the stuff that's being pushed to the top is the BS. It's the stuff that's being pushed.
So we know Lyor Cohen went on the Breakfast Club, and he said, well, I've got a family to feed. This is a Jewish guy. And they say, when we talk about Jews, that's the topic we're going to talk about today as well, because the Jews, everything is anti-Semitic when you talk about them. But Lyor Cohen went on the Breakfast Club, and they said, well, would you push negative hip-hop? Why not just have it all? He said, well, I have a family to feed.
The BS.
So you would push the BS because you have a family to feed, as opposed to finding content or MCs that are talking about positive things to at least balance it out. I mean, we used to have half and half at least. We had our KRS-Ones, we had our X-Clans, we had our Public Enemies. Cube was even on that line at one time. And then you had your just straight
South
up
Central cartels and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Street shit.
We needed a
balance.
Balance, definitely. But
Yin and the yang.
And now it's all the BS.
Right.
And going back to what Lyor Cohen said, as a man almost pushing 50,
Yeah.
You know, I just believe that a certain type of white person, and no disrespect to my wife, I'm half white. I don't get nothing about white people, but there is a certain type of white person that is expected to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I follow podcasting very closely, and one of the biggest podcasters in the space is No Jumper, Adam 22.
On hip.
And some of the things that he does, it surprises a lot of people, but it doesn't surprise me because he's like Leo Cohen. I have to feed my family. So what does Adam 22 does? He pushes all the BS. He pushes the gang on gangs. He pushes the Hoovers versus the neighborhoods.
Come on, man.
He has, Whack 100 doing this.
Doing
and
this,
he
I
has
see him.
all of this stuff going on.
Come on,
and it's
bro,
like
but it's toxic.
Yeah,
It's toxic
and those
to
are
the
the
culture.
videos. Those are the ones that get the most views.
I mean, academics sometimes is just, he's toxic. He just thrives off of beef. And the ones in Chicago where they're actually killing each other more so
Chirac.
than the Kendrick and J. Cole and Drake, where it can stay on the MC level. If it's staying on the MC level, it's just sparring. That's how the culture was built. I'm cool with that. It's just when you start getting in the streets and you're killing each other. But my thing is the confusion and the lack of originality. It seems like a lot of the artists, I can't tell.
Future from Lil Baby.
Lil
Not-
Baby.
dog,
In the NEL Chopper.
I can't, dog.
What's the other cat's
NBA
name?
Youngboy,
Nardo Wick.
Wick,
Kodak Black. If you
They
would've
all have a
played-
sound and they're all going for it.
Come on,
one
bro.
sound, just
one sound,
Yeah.
and it's the auto tune stuff, and it's like DMC said, disco was destroyed because it started to sound like one long record.
Exactly.
After a while, the flame went out because it had no originality to it anymore.
Exactly.
You just knew what was coming next. So I still give love to the Kendricks and to the J. Coles and even the Drakes that can do a lot of versatile stuff and don't sound the same.
I think Drake is one of the hardest ever. Period.
Drake is
Personally,
dope.
I think Drake
Yeah, it
just
flows.
what he's. Dare I call him the LL Cool J of this generation? Why not? You know, he's one of those guys who has
wouldn't say LL.
lyrically.
He has lyrics though.
Yeah, dog. So what I mean by that is he goes for the ladies and he still has bars, dog.
Yeah,
You know
he
what
got
I mean?
bars
I
for
really
sure.
believe that he is just one of the greatest of this generation. And I get shit
Yeah,
for
the
that
way
too.
he can dance around genres is dope. I mean, he can go from straight up R&B, then he's on some commercial, then he's on some trap. And you know, I thought he could have skipped the song with Sexy Red that has the little girls
Oh, that
talking
was
about
great.
hands
Stick
on your
your
knees.
knees.
Even though it bumps in the club,
Hands on your knees.
it just has the little girls on the
That's our
internet.
that's what white America is seeing, dog. And,
The little
and they
black
think-
girls are on the internet, 3
Yeah.
years old, singing that record. And
I
I'm
want to
thinking,
know who was behind the camera. Who was like the person doing this?
Where's the mama who was filming
Who's
that?
doing this? That's the person that
It was a
really
bunch of
needs
Magic
to-
City looking strippers with their daughters
Dog.
and stuff. It goes back to parenting, and that's another big thing. But
Yes.
you know, the toxicity of what these labels are pushing to the community is controlled by the Jewish community. Now, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm just speaking the facts. Who runs the industry? Who owns these distribution companies? We would say the Jewish community has the strongest hold on entertainment. Would you agree with that?
Well, there are very,
think that's a
very,
fact, but-
there are very, very few things in this world that scare me. IRS, God, in a sense,
God
and,
first.
and talking and talking about the J Crew. That's where because dog, I'm telling you, man, there
so
is
much
control out there.
Yeah, serious control.
And I choose to
Stay away from it?
I choose to stay away from personally from giving my
Jeez.
thoughts, whether good, bad, and different. Because if I say something good, I'm gonna offend some people over here. If I say something bad, I'm gonna offend some people over here.
So you want to leave that?
And
out?
it's scary.
You
I'm
wanna-
not tripping, dog.
wanna
You
leave
talk
it out?
as long as you want, but when it comes to the J Crew,
let's get back to what
shout
this.
out to
Okay.
shout out to my folks.
This
out there.
show is brought to you. I forgot to start it off.
By
I
the
always
J
start out,
Crew.
but this show is brought to you by God. So let's start there. Love, happiness, and peace. Right, for all religions, all nationalities, ethnicities. God woke us up. The Most High woke me up today. Woke you up today. So we want to start there. This is with love. The Jewish community factually owns the industry. That's just a fact. Black people are the creators of the culture. That's facts. Latinos had a part of it in the parks. When we bring graffiti, MCing, DJing, and breakdancing together, we created hip hop. Hip hop has now become one of the largest genres in the world. Yet, black people don't own the lion's share of anything
And when
within
they
it.
tried to, in the past,
they end up
were
dead.
shut down. Murder Inc. got a federal indictment. I mean, Suge Knight, Jake Prince, a couple of others tried to put something together. And I've heard so many stories that certain powers that be were like, no, nigger.
As soon as we talk about it, it becomes like a defensive thing, right? Why are you attacking us? I'm not attacking anybody. I'm speaking on the facts. You own the lion's share of a business that the black people who are the lion's share of the creators don't own a piece of equally.
Let me ask you, because I always like to look within. What could I have done different? Even if there's nothing in this world I could have done different, it was just the whole everything. Like I always think, what could I have done different? What could we as early hip hoppers, what can the people have done different to where this didn't happen?
Not sell out.
Not sell out. Give it to me. Talk to me.
My thing is, you sit down. I think Ice Cube showed it in NWA's movie where he went in Brian Turner's office and tore shit up about his. He went straight into Brian Turner, who's a Jewish guy who's big in the business. He went in there and tore some shit up, and then they worked out their business numbers. I think the Hip Hop Alliance with Special Ed, KRS One, they were doing could have been big for us because they started off trying to gather everybody under the hip hop umbrella, just saying, okay, X amount of people listen to hip hop. It was like hundreds of millions. X amount of people are part of the hip hop culture. So if we were to take that power and say, okay, hey, we're going to create a political party that says after our board of 20 people, we vote through our network of hip hop and we say, okay, we want to go with this candidate because of these reasons that they're bringing to the hip hop and black community. That way we could channel our votes in a positive way. I think had we come together with the pioneers of hip hop and we went to the Jews and say, listen, you guys have the business structure set up. We're new to this. You already have it through the music industry. How can we partner up together so that we make money and you make money? Because if we keep it a buck, and you guys were the talent. Let's put the shoe on the other foot. Jews have the talent. They're the dopest rappers in the world. Or let's say Chinese, whomever. They were the talent. Would they in turn let black people distribute their music?
It ain't happening.
So then why do we allow it on the other?
That's it, yeah.
So when the shoe's on the other foot, it's okay then.
Yeah.
And then when we call you on it, we're being anti-Semitic. Or are we just speaking facts? So what the are you? Or am I saying something wrong?
So you're saying we got our checks and we were happy by selling out? Do you mean we got our little checks, our nigger pennies or whatever, and we were just happy with that? And
we're willing to poison our people for it, even today. Like I said, Drake's 100 millionaire. He's still willing to do hands on your knees, and he sees the little girls how it's affecting them.
Yeah.
He's not stopping to say, you know what, I got enough bread. I need a hit. I need to stay relevant.
If anything, he's going harder. He's still
going
talking about drugs. He's still talking about popping perks and all this. I'm like,
Future talks about perks and he don't even do drugs. He don't even do drugs.
Dog, those see, this is what
so
these
he's
kids
WWE.
Don't know. Exactly. Those cups are not, there's no lean in there. That's Kool-Aid,
no lean in there.
I need to stop believing everything.
But he's telling the masses to do that. Yeah. So your point, let's because we'll go all over the place again. We never had a hip hop union that could fight for our rights within. We did get our money, and then they take the top dog and they tell him, I don't know if they put fear in that ass, because the CIA, we've seen how they've assassinated so many of our people. And when you get to the top, do they give you that offer you can't refuse? Which leads me to my next topic, which is the satanic rituals in hip hop. But did they offer you an offer that you cannot fucking refuse? And if they're going to kill you and your family, you like, look, most people are going to bow out of that one. I don't hear Jay-Z, who has the power to change things tomorrow, talking about any of these issues. Not Gaza, not shootings in the hood, nothing. Yeah. And people say, well, how do you know what he's doing outside the...
Everything is when you have this, everything is televised. If Jay-Z was out there talking about it, we would know it because
we would know immediately.
You know what I mean?
He don't have to tell you everything he's doing. And I hate to call him out personally.
No, I get it.
He's just
him and people like him.
I mean, come on. He's one of the biggest, if not the biggest. So let's talk about any of the other big guys.
Because you're always going to offend somebody. And I think nowadays silence is better for these big guys, because if they support Gaza, let's just say they support one side of it,
then they get canceled. The cancel culture is too fucking crazy.
Yeah, and it's going both ways.
That's why we're getting on, what is it, Rumble?
Yeah, Rumble, man.
Rumble.
Add the Rumble app, dude.
So we're on YouTube right now, but we're definitely transitioning towards Rumble, because if these platforms, which we should, oh my God, they're pimping us. The YouTube is pimping all of these artists by playing
Big
1,200,000 million views and giving you pennies on the
Yeah.
dollar, and then
Literally
selling to these
pennies on the dollar.
advertisers. You know what's pimping us? Is streaming. It was the worst thing that ever happened to music to me. Now these kids, all music is disposable. They never roll on an album ever.
it.
They don't even know what it's like to enjoy The Chronic and just listen to an album or
The
Biggie's
anticipation of it coming out, walk into the store with your $15 in your pocket. Man, I've been waiting all week for this album to come
And
out.
I'ma listen to
Opening
it.
the shit,
Opening
and
the
reading
shit.
reading the linear notes and the special
and
thank
seeing
yous
the
and all
pictures
that.
and all that. You
All
become
that,
attached to it,
dog.
and you vibe on that album through the week. You vibe on the album. Now, kids hear some shit, 10 minutes, they're on to the next album.
yeah.
Throw your shit away. I don't care about that. I'm on to the next
Yeah.
thing. And I think streaming has caused that. For one, I was telling my buddy Dallas the other day. He's big in the music industry. I said, why are we still allowing streaming? Why don't we say for an artist, I like your album. Me, the customer, I need to buy your album first, $10. Then I can stream it endlessly.
That would make more sense.
Wouldn't that make more sense?
That'd make a lot
I'll
more
give
sense,
you my
actually.
$10 because I love your project and I know your shit's the shit, J. Cole.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bless you with this 10, and then it's in my catalog. I can listen to it all the fucking time.
And the horrible thing about that is I love that idea, but if we know anything, we don't buy, like, we stop buying shit, dog. We're basically, there's so many ways to get music now that I just think.
But if you couldn't get the music, if you at one
If
time,
you couldn't get
if you
the
couldn't
music.
get
Oh,
the
okay.
music
That's
until you buy
different.
it, why are we
That's
allowing them
different.
to
Yeah,
pimp us with the
Gotcha.
music?
That's much different.
It's
Yeah.
a million streams
Yeah.
or a million plays before you get, and you don't get no money.
I like that idea. You can't get this album without paying me
Without
$10
paying
first,
me.
and then you could play it a billion times if you want.
Come on, Apple.
Yeah.
Why are you? How long are they going to pimp? And my opinion is, and I always get called a conspiracy theorist because I don't give. Because I speak on shit that people don't want to talk about, and that's a tough thing to do. They call you conspiracy theorists about all this. I believe that because black people created the genre that's the largest genre of music, which is hip hop, that's lasted longer than arguably any other genre of music without creating subgenres like rock did classic rock, and then it did hard rock, and we should already have drill, hip hop. We should have everything shouldn't be classified under one because we have so many different types of rap.
Yep.
Some is not hip hop at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
some is, and some is a trap version or a drill version. But if we didn't create that, say country music was still as large, I don't think they would allow you to stream it the way they're doing now. I believe too many Jay-Z's, Puffy's, Cash Money's, they were these billion dollar companies were happening so fast. And they used to police it back with Napster and all of that. Remember that? Napster?
I remember Napster.
And
You have 2 downloads, you're going to jail
you're going
for
to
8 years.
jail.
Like, what the fuck?
They used to police the
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden they said, we don't give a
Fuck it.
why.
Go for it.
Now YouTube, they can play your shit over and over and just feed you crumbs. So it's back to modern day slavery once again.
Yep.
We always find ourselves back.
I want to touch on
Slaves
country.
again.
You mentioned country music. It's so
Yeah.
funny because people are giving Beyonce shit for this country album that she released.
Right.
And it's funny to me because that shows you how dumb America is.
Right.
Black people invented country music.
Right.
Black
Hello.
people invented country music, dog. Do your in history,
Research.
people. Black people invented country. We invented rock and roll. Like all of these things were
A
taken.
cowboy
from
was a
us.
Negro.
Thank you, dog.
A
And
cowboy.
somehow
Come
it
here,
ended up
cowboy.
in somehow it ended up in Elvis Presley's
right.
hands, and now Elvis Presley created rock and roll somehow. Meanwhile, we were doing that stuff in the little juke joints in Memphis, Tennessee, back in 1922, and then a white person came, hey, let's walk in this juke joint, record it with the phonograph, take it back to the white man, boom. Now you got Elvis Presley somehow created.
Package it,
Yeah.
reap it, and reap untold fortunes. While Dr. Carver died penniless and insane.
Slavery.
Still trying to play a phonograph record with a peanut.
But you
Remember
talked about
Eddie
slavery.
Murphy talking
Oh,
about
yeah,
that
yeah.
with a peanut butter.
Oh, dude.
He said,
Eddie Murphy is the GOAT to me, dog.
Yeah, he's a genius with that comedy, but he was telling the truth. Dr. Carver created peanut butter. He's not patented peanut butter. His family's not making any money off that. We created the stoplight. We don't have a patent on that. It's so many inventions that we have that we're not making any lineage long-term money off of. And it's just like, it's exhausting that black people are always put at the bottom of the totem pole. Which brings me to the next topic. Let's bring up Vladimir Putin and let's talk about why I think maybe black people have been put at the bottom of the totem pole on purpose and by design. Vladimir Putin decides to open up the Holy Grail and show us that Jesus was actually a black man. You don't say.
Wait, you mean
Woolly hair?
no?
You mean it says woolly hair in the Bible? He's actually has woolly hair?
He had a surfboard and shit. If you
Oh
think-
my, right. Blue eyes on a surfboard.
I was 4 years old and I knew. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Come on, man. So I was arguing with a friend of mine via DM, and she says, I don't pray to a picture. I pray to Jesus.
Okay.
Okay, I get it. Well, she said, so it shouldn't matter. Why does it matter? That's a great point. If it didn't matter, then why did they change him from the black man that he was to white? Because they couldn't enslave you with a picture of you looking like God
Yourself.
and make you listen to a man
Yes,
preaching you
Mr.
this
White
Bible
Man.
book while enslaving, murdering, and raping you for 400 years with the image of himself as Jesus. Because if the image looked like you might not have allowed that. You think? So it does matter. Because if it didn't matter, and it doesn't matter, then every white person should be changing the picture of Jesus with blue eyes in their house to the actual picture of what Jesus really looks like. Since we want to tell the truth, are we here to tell truth?
Nah.
So maybe that's why they do the things that they do in the music business to keep us at the bottom. Because there has to be a reason that they don't want to give us money in hip hop, that they don't want us to have ownership, that they do redlining when it
Keep you
comes
at a
to
certain
real
level.
estate.
Keep you at a certain level.
Keep
To
you at a certain level. But how long does that last for black people? Is there a date where we break out of that?
You know, it's fun. No, you know why? Because we're so indoctrinated. They've trained us to believe a certain way. And I'm obviously not talking about all black people. I'm talking about a majority of us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're still teaching us things in school like, and this is where Dusty Vision starts getting in trouble. They start teaching us things in school like we were brought here and we weren't already here.
Hello.
Which is
Like the Moors weren't already here.
bullshit. The concept of bringing 4 million people and then like it's just the whole thing is bullshit.
But Dusty, Christopher Columbus discovered it.
Right? As a kid, I'm like,
Where people were already at.
as a kid with the normal logic, I was like, how could he have already? But there's
Excuse me,
people-
teacher. He discovered.
Shut up! You're thinking too much.
Wait, he discovered it, but you just said the Indians were
Bambino,
there.
can you please? We'll talk about that after
But
class.
teacher, the Indians were there.
You know what, Bambino?
Okay, sorry.
You're going to
detention.
the office.
Sorry,
That's how that worked. I was like that here. Okay, so going back to religion, this is how I was in church. So the first 19 years of my life, I was a devoted Christian. I went to church on Wednesdays, Sundays. I went to, camps. I went to, Bible study.
Yeah.
All this. That was me. It was fun. And I was always the kid who raised his hand and asked certain questions. Now, I can't say that I am a practicing Christian anymore. It's been a long time since I have, claimed a certain religion. Do I believe that there is a higher power out there and there is a God and that I am God? That's kind of where I am with that. But just after doing my research, I decided to part ways with the Christian church. And it was because I remember as a kid always asking questions, like raising my hand. Like I wanted to know.
You wanted to know, yeah.
Just, hey, how did this guy named Jonah live in the mouth of a whale for 30 days? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah.
Hey, how did, this dude named Noah build this big old ark and put two of every animal, crocodiles from Florida and polar bears from Iceland. And how can you just explain to me?
How
and I
he
was
got it,
told,
right.
I swear, dog, my youth pastor told me one day, he said, Arnold, that's my real name.
Yeah.
He said, you think too much. I said, God.
Whoa. You
Damn, that f***ed me up at 12 years old. F***ed me up at 12 years old.
Because what you could have said to him was, maybe you don't think enough.
Dog, I'm
what
like-
if? But a kid's not going to say that.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you think, "What? I
Right.
wish I had
Yeah, I
the
wish I had
jewels,
the
jewels to ask him.
If I
Maybe you
did
don't
respect
think
you, I would
enough."
have, said that. You know
Because
what
that's
I mean?
a crazy thing to tell a
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
You think too much. So
You
that's
think too
today's society. A lot of people will look at me and say, "You think too much. You're around here." People tell me that you're stressing yourself out with all these topics,
Yeah.
which is true. That's why I took 2 weeks off because sometimes talking about these things can put a lot of weight on you, especially when you, the masses, a lot of time don't want to have real conversations about these things.
Nobody
Because
wants to.
if
They say
you-
they want to,
They
but
say
they
they want to. But if you recognize that these truths are real and you confirm that, you affirm that, then you have to do something. Now you're accountable. And that's what people don't want to be. They're like, whoa,
wait, I gotta be
go back
accountable.
to the Matrix and go to work. Accountable. That means I have to do something?
Yeah, man.
I'd rather just take the blue pill.
Yep.
And Matrix is so real with that shit. Do you really want to know? Because when you see and you know, then it's like this show. I was so busy woofing into my live all the time that people were like, man, you should do a podcast because you're passionate about how you feel. And it's just like, I can't keep watching this shit and live I don't think I would age well if I didn't speak my truth. If I didn't have these things.
All these grades are just within the past year, homie. Like, I don't know,
yeah.
Just thinking about all this
mine
shit.
came right after I had kids late.
Dog?
Yeah, they started coming when I had my first kid, and I was at late in life, and the grades started coming.
So going back to accountability, you mentioned accountability.
Yeah, accountability.
And when you asked me earlier, you said, hey, what's your show about? I think one of the first sentences was making my people take accountability for themselves, which is a big thing in my head because I just think we would be so much further in life. And when I say we, I mean blacks,
as a whole,
Black, Native American, or Indian, whatever you want to call yourself nowadays, FBA, whatever the you want to call yourself. We would be so much further in life if we took accountability and stop. Like, we're in 2024, we're still blaming shit on the white man. Like, we're still blaming shit on the white man. Like, come on, dog.
Well, we have billionaires that can come together and change things for us right here in the flesh. And it's like, I think that the white man would come on in a little bit more if we did it ourselves. I think the Jews, everybody would start to say, hey, you know what? Look at this. I see Jay-Z, Diddy.
They're doing it themselves.
This dude, the doctor, the lawyer, they've come together and now they're created their own bank. And they just built 2 developments in Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York that have hired 2,000 black people to bring these types of restaurants and jewels of black businesses to these cities and employing our own. And we started doing education and we started doing schools. And once we start doing that, I think they'll jump in.
We got to stop doing this.
We got to stop asking. Like, reparations even. It's like, how long are we going to keep asking? They don't want to give us reparations. Like, what the fuck?
Is that a topic that I would love to talk about for just a couple of minutes? You know, it's funny to me. You know, black folks have been talking reparations for years, decades even. And, you know, now we are living in a country, going back to our great administration, we're living in a country now where migrants are getting
more reparations than us.
$10,000 credit cards. They are getting free housing. They are now soon, listen to me when I tell you this, they will have gun rights soon. So just sit back. You guys sit. Remember I said this. What are we? What's today's date? We're in March. Let's just say we're March, April-ish. There we go. Remember I said this. They will get gun rights as well. If you'd have told me 5 years ago that this would be happening right now, like, you are crazy. They're kicking kids out of school so shut up. So migrants can live there. They're kicking kids out of kindergarten. Liars. Bro. Knock it out. You're tripping, dog. Oh, they're putting them up in hotels. Oh, and I'm going to be fronting the bill for your man.
That goes back to the lady, Mike. That goes, Mikael, that goes back to the lady who we had where she's talking about 2 different governments, because the fact that they're letting that happen, we won't play it because it's too long, but we'll play it at the end of the show. She's just talking about the government is not really here to serve us. There has to be a reason why they're letting those immigrants in.
It's all voting, Doc. Those are new voters.
Okay.
They will have
maybe it's new voters, or is it the next terrorist act on that they're plotting, the 9/11, whatever that's coming next, so that we have to, whatever the fuck. I'm just tired of getting punked. I think that's what this show is about. And the day that people come together collectively and say, you know what, we're not getting gas today. You know what? We're not paying mortgages today. We're not getting groceries today. Like, how is our food a business?
Dog.
They're growing meat out of cells that don't even ever grow as a chicken. Dog. They just take a cell and create food. And they're wondering why cancer and all these things are running rapid.
So careful with what I eat nowadays.
And it's just like, how do we not focus on things like food, health, and just basically the things that better education that better mankind to go further. And I just think accountability is a scary thing for us. Like it's like we'd rather go to work and forget about talking about this shit, the chemtrails and all of these things that are going on. We just ignore it, and we're just the passive generation. Oh, it's okay. It'll fix itself.
So passive.
It'll fix itself.
Yeah.
We're breathing all that shit in there. Those are just contrails. Are they just contrails, Mike? Let's play that. Let's run that back. People say, oh, you're looking up in the air. A pilot that's on my Facebook was like, dude, I fly planes every day. Those are just contrails. Okay, bonehead who's in the air every day. Play this really quick.
Just so I know. I have to drive from Abu Dhabi to Dubai.
No.
It's not raining. It's a sunny day. The UAE government invested more than $20 million in research to start a process called cloud seeding. The UAE performs around 1,000 hours of cloud seeding a year, and it's all controlled by this building in the National Center of Meteorology in Abu Dhabi, where they track the whole process. We met with a cloud seeding expert to explain how the seeding process works.
We wait the forecast. When we have a good, chance for a cloud, we send the aircraft to that location. It go under the cloud. In the first stage of the cloud, there is good updraft at that time. Start to release all the salt, and with the good updraft, of course, it will go inside the cloud. The droplets will become bigger and start to rain.
The center manufactures a salt substance that helps enhance rainfall. They put them in what they call flares. It's gonna rain in Dubai today.
Okay, we could cut it off. So they are cloud seeding. They are changing the weather. They're doing these things without asking we the people. We're breathing this shit every day. I see it in LA. I see it in Vegas. I see it in St. Louis. And I saw it when I was in Chicago. The same thing. Airplanes going every direction. And back in the day, if it was contrails or from a plane, you see it behind the plane and then it goes away. These go across the sky and they stay all day and then it spreads out. And now we've been having all kind of weird weather and shit. My point is, people would just say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. And it's so easy for people to write everything off as a fucking conspiracy.
Well, that term "ignorance is bliss" is a reason. Like you're happier when you're uninformed. You know what I'm saying? You will drive yourself crazy, like Bambino and I, if you actually think about these things and what they are supposedly doing. Now, I don't know much about the chemtrail situation. I will be honest; that's a subject that I have to dive a little bit deeper into.
Yeah.
But if you ask me if it's something logical, and it sounds like something that the government would do to manipulate the weather, to bring more rain and things like that, then I would have to say that's not far-fetched.
And what about manipulating the food? How do you feel about that?
That's scary to me, dog, because the older I get, things like cancer and stuff like that concerns me like crazy. So when 10 years ago, when I used to shop at Food for Less, when I used to shop at Superior and things like that, like I stopped doing that. And no knock on anybody who has to do that, but just know that just pay a couple dollars more for something that's going to be more nourishing in your body. So I do go to, I do the Whole Foods, the Trader Joe's, things like that.
It gets expensive to eat
it
healthy.
does, but
they got these brothers now. What's his name?
There's a black family.
Farrakhan, not the actual Minister Farrakhan. There's another brother. I got to look him up. He also goes by.
Is it around here?
No. He does his farms in like the Midwest somewhere.
Oh, okay.
But what he's doing is, I'll send it to you, Mike, so we can put it up on the screen during this episode. But Brother Farrakhan is, he's putting funds together where people can live off the grid. And so you buy these farms in Texas and different places, and they show you how to set up your electric, how to set up your fans to cool, to do hydroponic and outdoor. And basically he's saying, when the shit hits the fan and these cities are going crazy,
You'll be prepared.
How are you going to eat?
Yeah, exactly.
So why not have your farm set up? If you got a group with a few people and get your own farms going, you're not digesting this bullshit that they're feeding us. A lot of our foods, Skittles, Ritz, Doritos,
they don't sell that.
They don't sell that in other countries.
No, because it's poison.
Because it's poison. Yeah. So how do we allow poison to be sold to our children and give it to each other on Halloween and for birthday parties while everybody's laughing and shitting and giggling? But because we don't have the Hip Hop Alliance, because we don't have a union, because we don't have we got the Democrats and Republicans who are all funded by lobbying and bullshit and corporations at the end of the day. We don't really have a checks and balances system that says, hey, if we don't agree with something, we're going to stop that shit. We don't want Skittles anymore. We don't want Ritz anymore. We want all organic. When it comes to food, we're America. We're the greatest country, right? Couldn't we afford to put Elon Musk and Bezos and all these motherfuckers together to say, hey, can we at least eat healthy? As a whole?
Yeah. When you have a chance, you ever see those big Cisco trucks?
Hell yeah, all the time.
When you get a chance, any people out there, go down the rabbit hole of Cisco and just the shit that the same food that's given to our schools are given to prisoners, and it's just a whole situation.
A money shithole.
Oh, it's horrible, dog.
Money shithole.
And one thing that I'm noticing, Bambino, is when we were kids, you have 5 kids standing there. You had the fat kid. There was always the fat kid, right?
There was always the fat kid, yeah.
Now, if there's 5 kids standing there, they are all fat.
And
they're all not just fat obese, dog.
Obese, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
oh, I'm seeing 2-3-year-olds obese.
Obese, yeah.
How? First of all, that should be child abuse. Call me
Right.
crazy. If this was my country and I'm running this bitch,
Yeah.
you get your kid, your 2-year-old gets obese. I'm sorry, your kid's going in the system, dog.
They make it affordable. They make it hard for people to afford Whole Foods. It's so many deeper issues that make people fall into this realm. What you got, Mike? Talk to me.
Oh, go for it. 40 minutes.
We're 40 in.
Oh, damn, that flew by.
So we still got a dub. We only got a dub. So we got to run through some topics. I just think they know we won't mobilize to change shit. And if we don't mobilize to change shit, we're just all yelling at the camera at the end of the day. I'm yelling at people, hey, listen, we need to. And everybody's like, yeah, that was a fun little episode. I watched 10 minutes of it, and then I went back on TV and back to McDonald's immediately. You know, and our attention spans are all over the place. It's media. Your phone's ringing, the TV's on, the Laker game's on, Usher's singing at the Super Bowl. I mean, it's distractions, bro.
Diddy's
at the end of the
fingering
day.
Mike Meek Mill somewhere.
Diddy's
Allegedly.
got his finger in some dude's booty. I mean, but all day long they're feeding us this over and over again, and it's distractions at the end of the day to keep us away from. You know, I just dug back in the day with the Panthers and shit where they stuck to something like, you're going to give us our rights. We're going to have our own food in our community. We're going to make sure we get our own guns to protect ourselves. We're going to, but then they dismantle them and label them a terrorist organization. And then we don't do anything. We just sit back and watch as a whole.
The world is an algorithm, my man. If you go to other countries, and once again, ladies and gentlemen out there and whatever else you call yourself, go out and research this. The algorithm in America is much different than the algorithm in, say, a Japan or something like that. In Japan, if you're going to be on TikTok, they're pushing certain shit to the top, educational stuff. You know what I'm saying? In America, they're pushing all the bullshit to the top. So you stay with your phone like this.
All day.
But in other countries, their algorithm is so much different, and it's all
pushing more positive stuff.
Exactly. Education.
All
if you're going to be on TikTok, you're learning something in other countries.
All we push is what you need to go buy to eat that's bad for you. A new medication. Booty injections, or the BDLs, LGBTQ, or you got to be trans, or you got to be this, and I'm okay with. I don't want to hear no hate about that. I don't care what you do. I just feel like children should not be preyed upon. I also think that we should be fair when it comes to sports when we talk about these things. When we, I guess that's another topic. We'll go all day on all of these things. But when people fight the system back, when we collectively fight back the system, they start buck breaking us on TV.
Talk to me.
I mean, look at what they did to Bill Cosby.
Okay.
They went back 30, 40 years to a lady, fondled her boob. He fondled her boobs. She never got up and said, my vagina hurt it. She said, he fondled my boobs and I woke up and I think he gave me some drugs that I asked for last time. So we went back 30 years, put this 80-year-old man in prison for some shit that happened 30 years ago. I'm not saying he's innocent or guilty. I'm just saying, can we go grab a white man, a random white person, and say, yo, you did something 40 years ago and homegirl over here said you did it.
Why is that? That's the question. Because look, if Bill Cosby did what Bill Cosby supposedly did, he's a piece of shit. But how is it that, these other people with different complexions, they're not getting, because dog, Elvis Presley's wife was like 13 years old.
So,
Lisa Marie
come on, bro.
And we're still bumping. Nobody talks about
Nobody
that.
talks about. Okay, so if he was a piece of shit, I don't believe he could have been. She was in a married man's room.
Is it just one person though? Because I understand it was several people.
But they never ever had any facts. They just it's like Diddy shit. People coming out. He put his finger in my booty 20 years ago. You got 30 people in line talking about who you don't know who's real anymore because the money's on the table, right?
Man.
But regardless of the matter, the one lady who made it stick, she never said she was penetrated. She said her boobs were fondled and that he had some drugs that she asked for before. I guess they were doing blow back in the day, and that drug was the no-do or whatever that calms you down. But she's in a married man's room late at night, and you got your boobs fondled, and you're surprised? You're surprised about that?
See, from what I remember, I stopped talking about. I went through a whole a year or so where I was on Bill Cosby's ass for this, I remember
it's not about Bill. Sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
I didn't mean to cut you off. It's not actually about Bill. It's about the fact that I believe they're buck breaking certain people. When you try to buy NBC, when you send all these kids to college, when you have a positive show like the Cosby Show, which we haven't seen since.
Why would they pick Bill though? Someone who's been out of the limelight for so long. You know what I mean? And he wasn't an important figure. If anything, he hated a lot of the stuff that black.
Maybe
folks
because
did,
the Cosby Show was something that could positively
Diddy makes
influenced?
more sense to me. Diddy is still in the limelight, still making billions to this day. You know,
Okay, so we
someone
bug break him. We do Michael Jackson. We tell everybody that he molested these kids. All the kids come out and say no, he didn't.
Pretty
no,
fucked
he
up.
didn't, and that my parents made me do it. And then we find out that Michael Jackson said, I'm buying all of the rights to Sony. I want all my stuff back. I got the Beatles catalog, and then I'm buying all of these things. And then he mysteriously comes up dead. And there's a guy, Candace Owens, who they're also breaking her down. She had this dude on there who was Michael Jackson's bodyguard.
Okay.
He's like 20 years old. And he also was, he wasn't just Michael Jackson's bodyguard. He was Diddy's bodyguard. And they're like, this dude went to school for business. Why is he getting this job as a bodyguard for these big people? And then shit has ended up happening with them. Is he a CIA plant? Is he somebody? Yeah, oh, look into it. It's deep. So people hate Candace Owens. I get it. She didn't represent us well when she talked about, white supremacy or any of the social injustices that happen. She never supports any of that. I get that. But a lot of the things that she's talking about has some factual, well-researched data that I have to listen to because I don't cut anybody off. I listen to what they have to say, and then I decide.
You have to be objective. You can't pick a side. You know, I'm the same way. I love Candace.
But they're cutting her off because she mentioned those people that you don't want to talk about.
Yeah, that right there too.
So we can't mention the people or we get cut off.
Kanye West
mentions the people. He's crazy. He's a lunatic.
From a billionaire.
He went to a billionaire to 200 millionaire in a week.
That was some shit right there.
So at what point do we stop getting punked? Jay-Z, where are you? Do you speak on any of this? Who else is another powerhouse we can name besides Jay-Z? I'm tired of picking on him.
Dre? You know what? Sadly, Dre would be one for sure.
Who's another powerhouse we could talk about?
Sadly, we only have about 5 or 6 of them that I think
Name
of.
another one.
Baby? Let's even go Jay Prince, Baby. These are all from the hip hop community. Let's try to think outside. Who outside of the hip hop community represents black people?
What type of offer that they can't refuse? Bob Johnson.
I would even go Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson, Bob Johnson. There we go.
Both.
What are these guys doing in the communities? Black communities. Yes, Magic Johnson
does, yeah.
Well, he had the theater, and he had the Starbucks and the Fat Burgers and these brands that aren't healthy for us.
Right. But is he taking it a step further?
Is he doing some banks where they're giving loans to businesses to people? He's partnering up and getting richer and richer and wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. But what point do we stop asking, like you said, for handouts and collectively come together to change our own narrative? What is the problem with that? Why do you think we're not doing that, Dust?
I think we're just afraid to take the reins, dog. Because if we take the reins, once again, if shit goes wrong, we have to go back to account. It all
but you're
goes
wealthy,
back to accountability.
Dust.
I know.
You're wealthy.
I feel you. I'm wealthy as fuck. But you know what? Even if I do help this organization over here, this organization is going to be upset. That they're going to want.
Who cares? You're wealthy, Dust. You're a billionaire.
You're right.
So if you're a billionaire, what does that look like? Dusty's a billionaire. What do you do? How much of your empire are you willing to give back to the black community to help it grow?
If I'm a billionaire, I'm giving away probably most of my fortune. If we're talking a billion is a lot
of money. But you're not giving, just throwing it in the air, making it rain at the club. What are you doing?
That's a great question. So I'm taking care of everybody around me first. And here's another thing. I'm not giving you money just because you're black. I'm giving you money if you're black and you're going to school and you're raising the kids and you're doing certain things. I'm not just going to throw niggas $80,000 or $500,000. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. You know. So and that's another thing. I'm not going to take care of you just because you're quote my people.
Right.
That's just.
So you would create businesses for them to fit into. Maybe?
I would 100% create businesses for people who want to advance. Yeah.
So wouldn't that be a great form of reparations for this country that we built for 400 years to make the most powerful country in the world? But if they did something like that, hey, we're going to give African Americans who can claim that they come from slavery, we're going to give you therapy to start with, because this therapy gets passed down generations of use, murder and trauma and all of the traumas that you've dealt with in America. Yeah. And we're going to give you therapy. You never got your 40 acres and a mule, and oh boy, did we crack the whip on your back to get wealthy as a country. So we're going to give you some home loans that are interest-free. We're not going to lose any money, but we're not going to make any money off of you. So we're going to give you these interest-free loans so you can get homes, and we're also going to let you dive in the business world because we've redlined you for 400 years.
All that so far.
So maybe that could be the form of reparation because
what's going to happen?
Not Cadillac trucks and $80,000.
What's going to happen if you give niggas $1 million? Cadillac trucks. We're going to go buy stuff from other people instead of us. We got to learn to. There's this old documentary I watched one time, and it was $1, and they had $1 in the Jewish community, $1 in the black community.
Yeah.
The $1 in the black community was literally out of the black community in like 30 minutes or something like that. That Jewish dollar went to
around
the
what,
bakery.
10 times?
It went to the hair
How many times around?
A long time.
Yeah, they have the data
before it went out.
Yeah, they say that it circulates maybe 4 or 5 times before it goes out of their communities, right? Ours goes, and we're $1 trillion
goes to the
we're a main buyer.
Yeah.
Right? But our money goes directly out of our communities immediately. My grandmother used to say segregation was the worst thing that ever happened. You know, we were better. We were better when we had to stick together because I've
heard that argument several times.
We had to stick with our own doctors. We had to stick with our own shoe guys, and that way our money was circulating within our community. As soon as we moved out, we were still getting. We were still dealing with racism. We were still getting red line. We were still getting all those things. But now you don't have your backbone of your people around you to give you that support.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you believe, and this is fact, anyone can look it up. It may not be the actual numbers, but something like, let's rewind to 1950 when racism was at a damn near an all-time high after slavery, obviously. Let's go back to that. It was more in your face. It was more in your face, 100% more in your face. Nigger, you are drinking this water right here. Right here, You are bathing in that pool.
Come in here, nigger.
So, exactly. So, at that time, 9 out of 10 families were together. There was a father and a mother in the home. This is fact. Go back to 1950, like 9 out of 10 black people had a family.
That is
Alonzo Williams is 65 years old. He said every kid in his family, in his neighborhood growing up, had a dad. If a kid didn't have a dad, it was almost weird.
Strange. It was like,
Fast forward to 2024, where yes, racism still exists. Anyone who says racism doesn't exist is an idiot. But it's a lot less than it was in 1950, ladies and gentlemen.
Now
fast forward to today, and 7 out of 10 black fathers are not in the home. Where did we go wrong? What happened in your opinion?
They took Cam and I talked about this, and Cam mentioned a lot of people just deal with cowardice. That's why they don't step up and do these things. But what happened, in my opinion, was they started to break down the black families through welfare and things like that.
Booyah.
So they're giving assistance to...
Guess who's your baby daddy now? The government.
The government. And that way, and you can't even have a man in the house in order to get these little crumbs and food stamps that we're going to give you.
So back in the day, they've tried to work their problems out, Bambino.
Yeah.
If they were having issues, we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out.
Right.
But now...
But I still have my business. I got my tire business. I got my tow truck company. I got my plumbing company. I still got that. Now the woman is like, get out of here so I can get my free checks and I'm going to have more babies and more free.
Crazy, bro.
And then drugs come in. So now you're not thinking clear anymore.
Yeah.
You're stressed out. We're going to give you a lot of drugs, right? We're going to give your community all these drugs. You're already poverty because you have no generational wealth.
Yep.
You have trauma. So now you don't know what to do with this little welfare that I'm giving you. And you're creating a generation of men who don't know how to be men and women who are trying to be men.
Woo!
There goes the breakdown right there.
That's it. That's
so we need some repair in the black community. We need some trauma repair. We need therapy. We need all of these things that we run from because we're still glorifying ignorance in our music. If you listen to the drill music, the fact that we allow that to go to our kids these days is so beyond toxic and embarrassing at this point. At me pushing the late 40s, I'm 47 years old. What do I look like talking about dumb shit anymore? You know what I'm saying? I just can't fix my mouth to talk about or condone it. But we let down the younger generation by telling them a lot. I was talking about pimping and things like that. And so I feel like when we talked about murder, killing, drugs, we kind of let them down by telling them that was the move.
Yeah. I like Pusha T and Cameron as one of my favorite MCs of all time. But there's something silly to me about a man in his 40s still talking about cocaine, pushing cocaine rap.
Jay-Z still does.
Anybody who still does that at that age, it's really silly to me, dog.
Especially when you're selling it to your own people.
Dog.
At least the Italians they sat around the table and said, we got to, drugs is bad for business. We're doing gambling. It's bad for, hey, they're going to do it anyway. Hey, we'll just give it to the niggers. Watch The Godfather. They sat around the table and they planned to give it to black people. Niggers, quote unquote. In the movie The Godfather, they told the truth. We're stupid to consume it and then glorify the few Frank Lucases and shit who made money off of it. But when it's the blind leading the blind, the poor leading the poor, one nigga gets on, just like the music industry. Jay-Z, Puffy, Baby, blah, 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 Lil Wayne, Drake, Cole, all them dudes. Then everything over here is the masses of people. They got money, y'all are broke. Yet you're trying to live by the same standards as what they're talking about. I'm flipping keys. They ain't touched the key
since 1993.
Since 1993.
That should be the line right there.
I ain't pushed the key since 93. Pusha T ain't touched no work since, but that's all
if he ever did.
That's if he ever did. Mm-hmm. He said my brother was the one, and whatever the case may be, he was around it. Weren't we all?
Thank you, dog. Come on, that doesn't mean
weren't we all?
I'm not push a ton just because my brother's so
my
close.
My uncle was with Tootie Reese and all of them doing big things back in the day. Like Freeway Rick and them used to come through the crib. So I've been around it. Doesn't mean I could go out and say, yo, I was the kingpin doing da 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 da. And if you do, isn't that a form of toxicity? And shouldn't we be held accountable at this point? When do we stop? Wasn't Rick Ross a police officer?
That's what I understand, a correctional officer.
Correctional
exactly,
officer.
Same
but
thing.
But he's the dope kingpin?
He's the dope kingpin, and he stole his whole... That's the first thing. When Rick Ross came out, I was like, that's the guy that you know in L.A.
I think we have to take a strong, long look in the fucking mirror as black people. Mm-hmm. We need to stop, drop, and roll, get the fire off our back, and say, okay... Because at the end of the day, I like to end with some beautiful shit. We are the creators of all things influential, from music
exactly
to fashion.
Thank you.
To everything. Excuse me. We influence the entire fucking world. Mm-hmm. They want to, when you go to Japan, they say Snoopy Doggy Dog. Mm-hmm. They don't say Donald Trump.
Right. There's
Joe Biden.
Wu-Tang.
They say Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
They say Little Baby. Mm-hmm. They say everything that we're doing. They want to low ride the cars.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're the influencers. We're the best athletes. We create the trends. How do we take that, bottle it up, and celebrate it, even within our communities? Let's give the gangbangers. Oh, that's one thing. How much time we got? 4 minutes? Let's celebrate our culture, black people. Let's celebrate the great things that we've done. But let's also not ignore the damage that we've done to the next generation and that we continue to do by our ways and our actions within our music and the content that we push. Not saying that we have to have a halo all the time, but can we at least balance it out? Now, can we hit my man on the who talked about the gangbang? Because a lot of my gangbang homies got on my head for posting this, but I just felt it was 40-year-old, 30-year-old Negroes need to hear. Can we play this really quick?
If you're still gangbanging at 30, you're an idiot. Dusty Vision said that.
Come on, man. I mean, but they don't have they feel like they don't have an outlet. And I can say to you what you got to do, black man. All my boys in the hood that's still in L.A. Move. I did it. I went to St. Louis for 10 years, and I built my business because it was easier to maneuver. And I sacrificed. I was stressed out. I was not happy. I was missing home. But I had my eye focused, and I had to earn my way back to L.A. Get out the hood. Go to Arkansas. Go to somewhere where your family's at, where your bang for your buck goes further. LA ain't going nowhere. California ain't going nowhere. You can always come back. But if you're here and you're treading water, LA can swallow you up. It'll make you start robbing people. It'll make you start feeling like you got to do something that's going to fuck your karma up. Fuck your karma up to get ahead. Now, yeah, you can rob somebody, but now your karma's all fucked up. Everything you do now, you start failing at. You end up in jail for life. You want to be around men the rest of your life? Is that cool? Sitting next to a nigga all your whole life, or the man telling you, get up, eat, sell time to bunk, hit the track, time to lift weights, time to go to sleep. More men. You down to sit in jail your whole life? So no, I don't think that's a good option. I think it's better to be poor. At least you can find a woman to help support you to get back on your feet. But going to jail, robbing somebody, doing the dumb shit to get ahead is a fucked up move that we're glorifying in our music. And I think that if you guys got out of your comfort zone and left for a minute, you would expand your brain enough to understand how to get back to LA and live how you want to live. Or maybe you decide you don't want to come back, or you move to Vegas, or you move to Inland Empire, somewhere where you can afford, so you don't have to do the shady, low frequency things that you do to try to get ahead. And let's play this really quick. We got to load it up.
This I'm a black person and I'm scared to admit trend is probably one of the greatest trends that's ever happened on TikTok. Because we finally have black people calling out exactly what's wrong with the black community. And it's taken long enough. In this video, I basically want to talk about black gangs. Black gangs have basically terrorized the entire black community since the 90s. And it has to stop. Like, imagine going to a neighborhood you've never been to. Some 40-year-old guy walks out of his mama's house and says, "Hey, where you from, cuz? Where you from, blood? You ain't supposed to be out here. This is my block." You live with your mama. She rents. She doesn't even own the house. This is the block of the government. What are you talking about? So you mean to tell me if I called your landlord right now, he'll say DD Grizzle of Blood Gang owns this entire block? I think not. Like, we really have grown-ass men, unemployed, standing around doing nothing all day except terrorizing random black citizens. And then if you call them out, you're an Uncle Tom. If I'm an Uncle Tom, you're a black Triple K member. These will be the main black people talking about F the police, F the police. We don't need the police. They'll steal from you and expect you not to call the police. I'm calling the police so I can get my crap back, and you can go to jail so you can't do this to another person.
Supposed to, and
He's supposed to. He's a civilian.
This is a black man. This is a black man right here. This
Turn
is
that
not,
down.
Yeah, you said some people got upset.
They
I
got
can see
upset.
how
I posted this, and they were like, "Yo, that dude can't speak for the hood. He ain't no hood nigga."
Respectfully, thank you very much. Respectfully, if you disagree with what this man says, you're not a black man. You're a nigga. A nigger. They're both the same thing, with an A or a hard ER. If you disagree with what this man said, and if you don't know the difference, if you think we're all one and the same, you're either A, you're a nigger, or B, you are a racist, because all black people are not niggers and all niggers ain't black people. If you have a problem with what this man said, you are not a black man. You are a nigga. Period. Point blank.
Well, niggas got on my head about posting that shit.
Nigga, somebody told me nigga stands for.
Who are you to speak on the? I grew up in the gang shit. I always been against this. Since my homie Jason got his head blown off when I was in junior high school, and I was like, yo, I'm not fooling with it. I'd rather holler at the ladies, get my money, and live my life and be a righteous man. What am I gonna? Plus, my pops wasn't having it.
And I get why people join gangs. I have
Me too.
I
know
100% get it. I get it. Like, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about being a civilian. And yes, at times in my life, being terrorized in my own community.
By the civilians. So
I can't walk
terrorized
down the street.
by them. Yes.
Yeah,
they robbed everybody in the neighborhoods.
God.
We all remember that. But now white people walking around the hood.
That's crazy.
So
I saw that around here. I'm like, 10 years ago, you would have never saw that.
A nigga will walk around the white person to go rob another nigga. Excuse me, Karen. I need to rob this nigga that's behind
rob Tyrone over there.
We rob Tyrone, who just came up. That's the thinking that has us fucked up. But where are our leaders and our men in the community that are saying, look, enough is enough. Let's be fathers. Let's give them badges of honor. Y'all survived one of the coldest wars ever. But we got to put this shit behind us, bro. It's a weight on our back.
Yeah.
If not, you got to do what Farrakhan said. You cut out the cancer. Cut the cancer out and put that over here. And then black people move forward. If niggas don't want to come along and they want to stay stuck on stupid, then you got to let them. That's a low frequency that they just got to deal with.
Yeah.
But if they're terrorizing the community, right? They're extorting people. They're doing all these things. Dude said, I'm calling the police, and I can't be mad at him.
I got the police on speed dial.
Talk.
I'm a homeowner. I'm a business owner.
You're a homeowner.
Fuck all that.
That's what we're not teaching niggas. We're not teaching brothers. We're not, excuse my French, we're not teaching our people to come together and say, you know what, you got your little money? Forget the rims. Forget the car that's a depreciating asset. Why don't you, little red bone, big red bone, T-bone, and woo-woo, get together and put your money together and buy some property in your hood.
Or just one person. You have a Robinhood app on your phone.
Yeah.
You can invest on your phone right now instead of scrolling Instagram. Make better choices of what you do with this, because this right here is going to make us all equal. Yeah. This is going to put us to equality. If you're a kid growing up and you have one of these, you are now a business owner. You can be anything you want to be. It's where you chose to put your time. You could literally trade stocks right now on your phone. There's no excuses, black people. Stop bullshit.
That's true. So with that being said, we just want to send a shout out from Bambino, my man Dusty. Thank y'all for tuning in to What the podcast. We got to get out of here. An hour skated by. Mike, how much time is that? We over the time?
Yep.
We over the time. So we're going to peace out. And I just want to say I love you all. We can make this happen. Please like, subscribe, share, because they're going to shadow ban us. They don't let us get a lot of views when we're talking about real shit like this. So I need y'all to share. I need y'all to buy a t-shirt. I need y'all to mainly just pass this around, y'all. One love. Peace.
Yeah.